We spend years in school memorizing dates, kings, and battles. 1206, 476 AD. The fall of this empire, the rise of that one. But somewhere between all these facts, we skipped the part that actually mattered. What these people learned about being human. The stuff they figured out the hard way through war, famine, loss, and long, silent years of just trying to live well. Today, I want to hand you 5 of those lessons. Not textbook trivia. Real, hard-won wisdom from civilizations that no longer exist, but whose lessons somehow still do. Let's go back in time. Picture a stonemason in Giza, 4,500 years ago. He's cutting limestone blocks under the desert sun, knowing full well he will never see the pyramid finished. It'll take his son's lifetime, maybe his grandson's, and yet he cuts each block with precision anyway. The Egyptians built as if time didn't apply pressure the way it does to us. They weren't chasing quarterly results or overnight success. They were laying stone for a legacy they'd never personally witness. The lesson. Some of the most meaningful things you'll ever build, a family, a piece of work, a reputation, won't fully pay off in your lifetime. And that's not a reason to stop. That's the whole point. At age 7, a Spartan boy was taken from his home and placed into the Agoj, a brutal state-run training system. Cold nights, little food, constant physical testing. It sounds harsh to us now, almost cruel. But here's what the Spartans understood that we often forget. Comfort doesn't build resilience. Struggle does. We live in a world engineered to remove friction from our lives. One-click everything, instant answers, same-day delivery. And in some strange way, we've become more anxious, not less. The lesson. You don't need Spartan brutality, but you do need some friction. A hard workout, a difficult conversation, a goal that costs you something. Because that's the only place real confidence is forged. Marcus Aurelius wasn't just an emperor. He ruled during plagues, wars, and betrayals, all while quietly writing notes to himself at night. Notes that became one of history's most read books, Meditations. In it, he returns again and again to one idea. Separate what is in your control from what isn't. You can't control the plague. You can't control other people's opinions of you. You can't control the past. But you can control your response, your effort, your character today. The lesson. So much of our stress comes from fighting things we were never meant to control. Peace begins the moment you stop trying to steer what was never yours to steer. In Taoist philosophy, there's a famous image. Water. Soft. Yielding. It doesn't fight the rock. It flows around it. And yet, given enough time, water carves canyons. It outlasts stone. Confucius, meanwhile, taught something similar in a different form. That quiet self-discipline, patience, and respect for others were far more powerful and far more lasting than force or dominance. The lesson. We tend to admire loud strength, the aggressive move, the forceful stand. But real power is often patient, adaptive, quiet. It doesn't need to announce itself to win in the end. At its height, Maya civilization built cities with populations rivaling ancient Rome, advanced astronomy, complex writing, staggering architecture. Then, over generations, many of their great cities were abandoned. Historians still debate why. Drought, overpopulation, environmental strain. political collapse, but one thread runs through most theories. They didn't adapt quickly enough to a changing world. The lesson? No amount of past success protects you from irrelevance if you refuse to change. Whether it's a civilization, a career, or a relationship, the ones that survive aren't always the strongest. They're the ones willing to adapt. 5 civilizations, 5 lessons, all of them gone now, turned into ruins, footnotes, museum exhibits, but the wisdom didn't disappear with the stone. It's still here, waiting to be picked up by anyone curious enough to look for it. That's what this channel is about. Not just history for history's sake, but pulling forward the parts of the past that can actually change how we live today. If this gave you something to think about, subscribe. There's a lot more where this came from, and I'd love to know which of these 5 lessons hit you the hardest. Drop it in the comments. Stay curious. Keep learning. Be positive.